program. It's the Pathway to Medical School. And I am Maria. I will be hosting, and I will be also joined by some amazing faculty, as well as Dr. Arvind Bhagapur. He's the founder, and we will be happily answering any of your questions. Please let us know along at any point if you do have any questions whatsoever. Drop them in the comment section. At this point, if you want to let us know where in the world you are, please drop that in the comment section as well. Again, my name is Maria. So we're going to start here. This is a photo of some of our illustrious faculty members. Okay, so here is my contact information. Please feel free to take note and call me or email me, text me at any point. I'm more than happy to answer any questions regarding not just the preparatory program, but our MD program as well. Okay, and I see some answers coming in. Houston, Texas, New Jersey, Louisiana. Hello from South Florida. Missouri, excellent. Los Angeles, fantastic. Well, welcome. It is lovely to have everybody here today. Bay Area, some more New Jersey, excellent. I'm in Chicago myself. We have faculty from Dominica joining us today as well. So I'm excited to introduce everyone. All right, so again, we're going to talk about the preparatory program. This is an excellent opportunity to enter our MD program. It is a pathway. I do want to talk a little bit about who we are. The American Canadian School of Medicine is located, I've mentioned it a couple of times, on the beautiful island of Dominica in the Caribbean. It is called the Nature Island. I have been there and can let you know that it is gorgeous. The people are amazingly kind and generous, welcoming. And we're going to see a little bit of photos and shots of the campus throughout the slides as well. And let's see, Lexington, Kentucky, Chesapeake, Grenada. All right, DC, Iowa, Florida, some more. I love it. We have people from all over. So again, welcome. And for those joining us just now, again, my name is Maria and I will be hosting today. So let's talk a little bit about our founder, Dr. Arvind Bhagapur. He is joining us today and we're going to have him. There he is. Hello, Dr. Bhagapur.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, and I'm going to pass it on to him. He's going to answer some questions and also tell us a little bit more about his experience and how he got to this point.
Well, first of all, hello, everybody. Thank you for joining today. You're joined the Prep for Success program webinar, and they will talk to you a little bit about it, but I wanted to tell you a little bit about myself, why the university started, and where we're going. So my name is Dr. Bhagapur. You can call me Dr. Arvind or Dr. B. And I went to a Caribbean medical school. I started at Ross University School of Medicine. I originally graduated from University of Texas of Austin. Then I went to Ross University School of Medicine. After that, I went to Beth Israel for my surgical internship year. And from there, I went to University of Texas, again, for my radiology residency. And then I finally finished my fellowship after a long time in interventional radiology. I'm a vascular and interventional radiologist. It's a very special type of consultant that does procedures, but also reads imaging from the prestigious Cleveland Clinic. And I've walked in the footsteps that many of you are going to hopefully walk in. And I created the university as the first and only nonprofit medical school in the Caribbean to make a change of how education is delivered throughout the region. Caribbean medical schools have been around since the 1970s and trained thousands and thousands and thousands of doctors every year. In fact, somewhere about 20% of the United States workforce are Caribbean medical graduates, and upwards of almost 50% of all the primary care doctors in the United States are from the Caribbean. So it's not an area that hasn't been well established. But what is unique about the university are many things. One, it's a nonprofit. Most, if not all, of the other Caribbean medical schools are owned either by private equity firms or shareholders, and I don't think that's appropriate. I graduated with an astonishing $750,000 worth of student loan debt. That's unacceptable. and I don't want any student to have to go through that. So we started the school as a nonprofit medical school. We're giving out large amounts of scholarships, keeping your financial burden low, but also providing a modern education that's unlike any Caribbean school, but very similar to the best U.S. schools and Canadian schools that you may or have heard of, such as Yale, Penn State, and Stanford, and places like that. Our curriculum is based in small room classrooms. When I was in school, I sat in a large classroom. There was maybe 560 to nearly 700 people at any given time in my classroom. The classroom wasn't big enough for all the students that were accepted. Again, remember, there were for-profit schools. They wanted to get as many students into the school as possible. And unfortunately, a good number of the students that I started with did not graduate, but yet they were left with a heavy amount of student loans. This picture here is when I was a young resident. The first one in the middle, and then the ones on the side are me and my clinical practice. The university was made for physicians by physicians, and that means for you future physicians, you'll be taught by physicians, and and they'll go a little bit deeper into that as this webinar goes forward. But um, most of the Caribbean medical schools are not taught by physicians at all. They may be even taught by a veterinarian. When I went to school, a veterinarian taught me some of my pathology classes. I love my dog, but I don't think that angiosarcomas should be taught by a veterinarian. It's just because dogs get them. I mean, humans get them too, but in a much different manner. So all your classes are taught by physicians. There's a 10-to-1 student to faculty ratio, and generally the way the classes start is in the morning. You'll have a hour and a half lecture by an expert faculty member, and that faculty member could be from institutions such as Yale, uh, University of Wisconsin, University of Texas, and so forth. And we have about just under 40 adjunct faculty that come down on a rotational series for 1 to 2 weeks, and they teach on something that's unique and special in their field. For instance, a few weeks ago, they came down and taught about the effects of smoking a vape, and that could lead to acute respiratory distress syndrome. So they teach about that. They'll teach about thyroid diseases and keeping things very clinically relevant. Traditional medical schools, both in the United States and all the Caribbean, are taught by I would say categories like histology, pathology, embryology, and they're not traditionally integrated in a clinical basis. So, what does that mean? Well, first of all, if you're sitting in a big lecture hall and you got your iPhone or your Android in your hand, you're probably going to get distracted, and then you're going to be just listening to a PowerPoint passively. What happens at our university after 5 years of developing the curriculum and doing it with our colleagues at Penn State and at Yale University, um, we created a program that you sit in a small classroom. So after you break off into your um, large classroom session where you have the expert lecturer, you'll be in a class with 10 students and one doctor, an MD. And that MD will have clinical experience, would have taken the USMLEs or the Canadian board equivalents, and they know what it takes to get to the next level. And you're going to learn things in a clinical basis. So when we sit in a classroom and we talk, and we go through a clinical case, you will learn histology, pathology, biochemistry, pharmacology, but you're not going to be learning it exactly like that. For instance, your first module is called the Foundations of Medicine, and one of the faculty members that are on here now will talk to you about a little bit about that. Your second module is called Attack and Defense. That doesn't sound like any general medical school curriculum that you may be used to, but that's going to have everything integrated so you're going to remember it. So when you learn about diabetes, you're going to learn about small vessel disease, you're going to learn about, the Krebs cycle and all the different pieces. But we've all learned the Krebs cycle probably in college, but we probably can't recite it. So we put it all into clinical context, so when you get to your boards, you're able to remember it and do well on it instead of having to cram for it. Every night you'll study the night before online on Canvas, and then you'll do questions by the National Board of Medical Examiners. That's something that's also very unique to our school, the American Canadian School of Medicine, in that the NBME, the National Board of Medical Examiners, do not extend their exam and their question banks to all the schools. In fact, it's traditionally for the U.S. medical schools with some exceptions. And because we have excellent accreditation for 5 years and the way that our curriculum is set up, you're able to constantly be quizzed without a grade the night before you show up to class and understand if you know the topic. When you're in class and you're doing your small group sessions to work through clinical-based scenarios where they're cover the fundamentals of medicine, but in a way that you're going to remember it. And then you'll take a quiz at the end of the day on that subject. And then again, repeat the cycle. And at the end of the week, you take a quiz. And they're none of them for grades until your final exam comes in that module. So, quite unique to us is our nonprofit status and why I created it, because I did not want people to get into debt. Also, that one of the very important things is that we have a true social mission. We provide healthcare services to Dominica, although we're a style and Canadian style medical school that holds us to some sort of standard. If you go to, let's say, Ohio State faculty are in fact also working in the hospital or in the community. They're not just teaching. And that's very important to us to be able to help the local community. And then as you go on into your clinical days, which are in Los Angeles at Hollywood Presbyterian and a few other hospitals, which after your first 2 years of medical school, you'll be involved in patient care very closely. So that's just a quick rundown, and the rest of the people who are great on this call will kind of guide us through this webinar, and I'll be available for questions and answers. They'll give out my cell phone number right here. So that's my personal cell phone number. You can write it down. You can text message me at any time, and I can answer questions for you. And I'm passionate about teaching future doctors. And I can only treat maybe 11 patients a day. If you go on and treat another 11 patients and there's 50 of you, imagine the massive impact that we can make on patient care and patient lives. And the Prep for Success program came out of the need of understanding that not everybody has the right, we want everybody to have the right tools when they go into their first semester of medical school. And they'll talk a little bit about that so you do really well. The program's heavily subsidized. General tuition is $25,000 a semester, $50,000 a year, but the Prep for Success program is only $1,000. And we have financial aid to cover your housing, food expenses, and things like that. So it's a really unique program, and it allows you to have a direct pathway into the medical school, and you'll go through the first 2 modules just like a medical student, the other medical students do, and you'll be treated just like them and held to the same standards, and get a little bit of that extra nurturing and time to understand those 2 initial subject matters that we're teaching the modules, so you can do exceedingly well. Again, my cell phone number is on here. It's 713-210-9054. I'm sorry I'm a little choppy today. I was on call last night, so my brain's not 100% with us because I am a practicing physician. But with that said, you can reach out to me anytime, and I'll let Maria take over from here.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Bagapur. And as we can all see, he is very passionate, and he has made himself very accessible to everybody who has joined us at this webinar. So please take down his telephone number, which he said is his personal cell phone number. If you have any questions, or if you would like to talk to him about anything, he's there to help and assist any way he can. So Dr. Bagapur, thank you. All right. So we all know, as he said, that there are a lot of passionate students who are hoping to become physicians, and the path to becoming a physician is not only challenging because of the subject matter, but simply there just are not enough seats in the United States. So as we can see from the statistic, about 70% of those who have taken the MCAT do great. They definitely have the potential to become very successful physicians, but only about 50% of them actually are able to secure a seat in a medical school in the United States. It's just a numbers game. There just aren't enough seats. So what happens to the remaining 50%, right? Well, Here today is Dr. Stanley White. He is our Senior Associate Dean, Student Affairs, and Dean of Campus as well. Welcome, Dr. White. He's going to talk to us a little bit about his background and walk us through more about the campus and tell us more. And again, welcome to those who have joined us just recently. I see more people adding on, and I welcome everybody. If you have any additional questions, which we have had some come in and we're answering them as we go, but if you have any additional questions, even if it's not precisely about the topic we're discussing at this particular moment, feel free to drop it in. We will address it for you. Okay, so Dr. White, take it away.
Thank you, Maria, and welcome to everyone that's joining us from wherever you are online this evening. It's a real pleasure to be able to join this webinar to tell you all about this latest program that we're offering, which is our MedPrep program. My background is in medical research and medical education. I actually started as a medical student many, many years ago, but decided to become a research scientist, and my whole career has been spent teaching and administering teaching and research in medical schools. I've been working in the Caribbean for the past 14 years, previously at one of the largest medical schools in the Caribbean, which was based here in Dominica, and more recently at another school in Dominica before joining American Canadian last August. So I come with a long experience of pedagogical research into teaching and administration of faculty and campuses. And it's a great adventure to be part of ACSOM. As Dr. Bhagapur pointed out, the school has been founded on very important, unique ideas about the way medical education should work. And we adopt a unique approach, in my opinion, in that we moved away from the mass lecture didactic delivery of content that is all too common in most schools. Our approach is to use small class sizes, and as Dr. Bhagapur said, those classes are supervised by practicing physicians. Our adjunct faculty, who are drawn from a wide variety of American Canadian medical schools and other clinical centers, visit the campus, give a lecture each morning, and then you break off into your small groups. And the small groups are there considering clinical problems really from the very first day. The other unique feature of our class approach is that we blend it with what's called a flipped approach. So that means that previous to every day's work, you receive pre-work, which you have to do in your own time, learning, for instance, what a mitochondria is, or a centriole, or whatever, and bring that didactic knowledge into the small groups the next day to help you deal with the problems and the MCQ questions that you'll be using during the class sessions. So there's early clinical exposure in our class teaching all the way through from really the very first day of teaching in semester 1 in foundations. The other unique feature of the school, which I'm particularly proud of, is the fact that we are a non-profit organization with a social mission. And that social mission within Dominica is to help improve healthcare provision on the island. We have a social contract with the government of Dominica, which facilitates us doing that. And so we have a constant stream of outreach activities in which our students and our faculty attend within the local communities, giving health fairs, so doing basic health screening, offering health education advice. And all of this is done in partnership with the local health providers and their teams. So it's a true partnership within the community. Dominica is one of the few islands that still has an indigenous population of Amerindian Indian extractions. And we have a program of social medicine working out in those communities as well. So outside the classroom, there are ample opportunities to be involved with the community, sharing experiences with the local community and helping them improve health provision. Now, one of the main reasons somebody wants to go to medical school is to become an MD and become a resident. And being an international medical school offshore from the US and Canada, there is a tight accreditation requirement to enable our students and our graduates to take board exams and to practice medicine. So we are at the moment accredited by 2 accrediting agencies. We are fully accredited by the IAAR, which is called the Independent Agency for Accreditation and Rating, and we are provisionally accredited by the Accreditation Commission on Colleges of Medicine, ACCM. And the important point is that both of those accreditors are fully recognized and approved by the World Federation of Medical Education. If you go to the World Directory of Medical Schools, you'll see we have an entry in the World Directory. And on one of the tabs of that World Directory, you'll see something called a sponsor note. And that is a sponsor note issued by the ECFMG. And that sponsor note means that our students can sit for USMLE Step 1 and 2 exams, and our graduates can participate in the National Residency Match and also the Canadian Residency Match. So any student coming through our course will have a clear pathway to a career in the US and Canada. Now, the rigors of a medical course should not be underestimated. It's extremely hard work. And what we have the intention of in launching the PrEP program, as Dr. Sanchez will tell you a little bit in a few minutes, is to help equip students who are not at the moment a perfect match in terms of being able to gain direct entry to the 4-year program. So you may not have an MCAT, for instance. So the PrEP program has been designed specifically to enable you to be prepared to hit the ground running in the 4-year program. Dr. Sanchez will tell you about that. All of the work that we do, both in the class and in the community, as Maria mentioned at the beginning, is in Dominica. Dominica is one of the world's most beautiful Caribbean islands. It's small. It has a population of about 70,000. It has 365 rivers, one for every day of the year, waterfalls, lakes, but a whole host of other activities which the island is famous for. Things like canyoneering, whale watching, diving, sea turtle watching. It is one of the most beautiful islands on Earth and regularly features in the top 10 best places to visit of all islands. So it's a small but beautiful place. It's relatively crime-free compared to the rest of the Caribbean. And it is an ideal place to study with a minimum of distraction. So I think coming to Dominica, to the PrEP program, will lead you into a 4-year program, which you will enjoy on the island, gain the benefits of working in an international location, and move on to the US for the rest of your study and career. So with that, I'll hand back to Maria.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. White. All right. So we're going to talk now a little bit more in detail about the preparatory program. I know there have been some questions coming in about that as well. So we will address those as we move along. I do want to take this moment to introduce Dr. Estes Sanchez de Leon. She is the program director, Prep for Success, and she's going to tell us a little bit about her background and then jump into what the program is, what it entails, and answer all of your questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Maria, for the introduction. And thanks, everyone, for being here and giving us the opportunity to tell you about our program. So you have heard already quite a bit about it. Well, I'll briefly introduce myself. I'm a PhD. I'm the exception from among our faculty that is not an MD, but I'll be teaching you science. So, I'm a scientist and I'll be teaching you the science, and then you will connect it to the clinical aspect with the help of my coworkers who are all MDs. So I graduated from Cornell, from a PhD program there, and before I was at Mount Sinai, where I did my master's in biomedical sciences, and now I'm teaching the first two modules. I've been teaching the first two modules of the regular medical program, and now I will be doing that in the prep program. So our prep program is basically, as you already heard, the same as the first year, as the first two modules of the regular medical program, but we will do it a little bit slower. So as you already heard, the way the medical program is designed is centered on these small group sessions where people discuss. And the students have to do the pre-work before, and then come already with the knowledge and then apply it to clinical case studies. So sometimes applying this basic scientific knowledge to a clinical case study can be challenging, especially if people don't have the background needed for medical school, because we all come from different universities. We study different subjects. In different subjects we study different things. So not everyone comes with the same background. It's impossible. So to prepare those who don't have, those tools, we designed the prep program. And again, the goal is to make it a little bit slower, a little bit easier in the beginning to connect the dots between the basic knowledge and the clinical knowledge. So we will have a little bit more structured sessions at the beginning, and then we will transition to more discussion-based sessions. So the idea is that by the end of the prep program, you are the same as our medical students in the first year. You're that prepared, and like that, you can start already with our program, like with the regular program that is more discussion-based, and you guys need to be quite independent for it. So our Foundations of Medical Science module, it will be 12 weeks. In the regular program is 6 weeks, so we will be a little slow, we will go a little slower through it. It includes biochemistry, we will study metabolism, we will study also molecular biology and cell biology, all the foundations basically of how our body works from the smallest units, like our cells and our molecules. Then we also study genetics, some pathophysiology, pharmacology, and a little bit of cancer biology. And then the second module is called Attack and Defense. And that one is the same duration of the Attack and Defense module in the regular program, but we will do it a little bit more superficial, and also including a little bit more of the background information that students are implied to know by the time that they take the regular medical program. But sometimes it can be challenging to have that preparations, especially for microbiology. There's a lot of things on diagnostics that, we'll go more on the basics. So then by the time you have to get to the clinics, you're more prepared. And immunology, it will be pretty similar. More focus on the mechanisms of the immune system and a little bit less focus on the disease. So by the time you have to study all the diseases and all the pathologies, you will have a general view and all of that. But by the time you have to study it in detail in the regular program, you will be very well prepared. In terms of our teaching methods, we try to do it as interactive as possible. I don't like to be, for example, giving a lecture and have the students not talk for an hour. I like to ask questions. I like to make the students think. And I think it's very important to guide the students in a way that they can already connect the knowledge that they have with the new knowledge, and they can make conclusions already with the knowledge that they have, because people are smart and people can make those connections. We just don't realize how sometimes. And again, we use clinical case studies since day one. So since the very moment you join the school, you're going to be applying the basic knowledge to the clinical knowledge, which is very important because we believe that that's what's going to make you really prepared for, success in the clinical setting. I think it's very important, to develop your critical thinking as a scientist, obviously, and your problem solving skills. So I really, really stress into that. And also what we already mentioned is that we use NBME exams to prepare you, which is very similar to the step one. Like the questions are very similar to the step one questions, because we really want you to be prepared for the real boarding exams. Again, our assessment will be with NBME style exams. It can be challenging at the beginning. That's why we're gonna, go slowly into it. So by the end of the semester, you are fully prepared, and the exams that you will be taking is gonna be the same as in the first year, like same styles and difficulties. So if you pass it, you're gonna be totally ready for our medical program. And my goal is that you guys pass it. And in terms of like our criteria for success is that you guys are very participative in class, because that's the way you will really absorb the information. You have to come with the mindset of being like a sponge for the information and wanting to also participate and share the knowledge you already have and help your classmates. That's super important. We will have, like a minimum score to pass the exams and the assessments. You will have to be good at taking that basic knowledge and make it into practical clinical knowledge. And, it's also important that you come with a good attitude to class, because this is a team effort, and it's very, very important that you guys blend in with the team and work together as a team, because that's going to be super, super important also once you join the actual medical program. It's all team-based, it's all small group discussions, it's all you guys helping each other. So your attitude, your mindset, your participation is key for succeeding in the program. In terms of the criteria for transition, it will be both important your scores, that you pass the exams with the minimum score, but also that you blend in with the group, you have a good attitude, and that we see that you are a team player and that you are going to really fit into the school. So the two aspects are important, because at the end of the day, we think our program is very, very based on those like group sessions and group studying, and like when you really understand something, you're able to explain it to others. So we really believe it's very important to get independent in that sense and to help each other. So again, your attitude during the whole prep program is going to be very, very important for you to join us and to be successful also in the medical program. And in terms of, I don't know, like we will have a lot of support from all the like support services. I think Maria can tell you more about it. And we will have, like faculty from the general medical program joining for some sessions. So you will be in touch with all the faculty already since the beginning. You will get to know everyone in the school. We're a small school. So I think, it's, you will have all the chances here to succeed and all the resources.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Sanchez de Leon. I did want to add that upon completion of the program, you will receive a $15,000 scholarship, which will be applied to the first term of the MD program once you start. And, you've heard a lot of information so far about us, who we are, the prep program. We're going to continue with additional questions and go into more details about the application process. But if at this point you feel that this is the right program for you, whether it is the MD program or the Prep for Success program, use this QR code. It'll take you to our application page on our website, and you can fill it out. There is no fee for the application, and it doesn't take too long. Just take your time, answer all the questions. We will also, again, like I said, go into more detail about the admissions process itself, but, take down that QR code and have it handy so you're ready to apply. All right. So I do see some additional questions coming in. Somebody just asked for my email address. So I just added that to the chat there. So if you don't have it yet, if you didn't catch it in the beginning, please note down my email and feel free to email me at any point. I'm also going to add my telephone number in a little bit. So you can either text me or call me. We're always available here to assist and answer any questions that you might have. Okay, so the actual requirements for the PrEP program, the PrEP for Success, you will need to have a bachelor degree or equivalent, depending on, if you're from Canada or a different country, but you will need to have completed a degree. Within that degree, the major itself, there's a lot of flexibility in that. However, you will absolutely need to have prerequisite courses. The list is there. I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of small, so I'm going to go over it and with more detail. But as far as the prerequisites, you're going to need to have 2 semesters of biology. Once you submit your transcripts, we'll be able to determine if biology classes you have taken are equivalent to the ones that you will need. We also need 2 semesters of chemistry, 1 semester of organic chemistry, physics, math, English. Now, for the PrEP program, we are able to make some exceptions up to 2 of those courses. There will be some flexibility regarding that, since you will receive the foundational information that you need during the PrEP program. So we're able to ensure that you have that strong foundation upon beginning the MD program itself. So you will need to submit your transcripts so we can determine, and whether the classes you have already taken fit those. So there's a question. Do I have to wait until I finish college to apply? You do not technically have to wait to finish college. No, not at all. You can go ahead and apply. We'll determine, after you have applied, if you are a good fit for the MD program, for the PrEP program, or will we need to advise you on different steps to take to get to that point. But good question. Thank you. For the PrEP program, the MCAT is also not required. So if you haven't taken it, it's definitely something that if you can avoid it. It's an extraordinarily challenging and stressful exam. If you have taken it, great, that's fine. However, it is not a requirement for the PrEP program. It is a requirement for our MD program, however. So if you do not have your MCAT and you are accepted into the PrEP program, once you complete the PrEP program, you are automatically accepted into the MD program, and you will not have to take the MCAT at any point. I think there should be some sighs of relief with that. All right, so some basics, obviously fluency in English. The material is all in English. You will need to be able to read and communicate and speak in English fluently. Record of good conduct, of course. We will need letters of recommendation, your resume as well. And those are things that, you don't actually need as soon as you submit your application. So for example, if tonight you're ready to apply, you can go ahead and apply as soon as the webinar is over. You do not need to have the letters of recommendation immediately now. We can go ahead and start the process without them. And it is upon being accepted that you will absolutely need to have those requirements completed. Okay, so in addition to that, let's talk about the actual start dates. So we do have 2 start dates a year, both for the PrEP program as well as the MD program. We have a class beginning in August, and I know it's July 17th, but if you are convinced that this is the right program for you, whether it's the MD or the PrEP program, we will be able to facilitate the application process, expedite it. And if you're ready and logistically it is possible for you to start this August, then we can absolutely make sure that we can make that happen. We will assist you with absolutely everything. So for the PrEP program, orientation is July 29th. That's when it begins. The semester starts August 5th, and the last day is December 13th. So you finish the program December 13th. You're able to either stay in Dominica and actually enjoy the island, or you can go home if you'd like. The MD program itself, which is what you will transition to after, begins January 13th. That is orientation. First day of class is January 20th. So again, the last day of class in prep program is December 13th, and then you come back January 13th. So you have a whole month to decompress, to unwind, and to mentally prepare for the MD program. And again, you can stay on the island or you can go back home. Okay, and then the following starting point is in January. For those that would rather wait until January, orientation is January 6th. First day of class is the 13th. Last day of class is May 23rd. And again, you will be transitioning upon completing the program successfully into the MD class. And that next class in August 2025 begins August 4th is orientation. The first day is August 11th, and the last day is December 12th. And then you will have approximately 6 weeks after the ending of the first MD semester to go home or enjoy the island. You get to decide, but you do have about 6 weeks to decompress and prepare for that. Okay, so I know some people have asked about the tuition, so we're going to go into more detail about that. And it has already been said, Dr. Bagapour said that the tuition for the prep program is $1,000. That's US. However, you are also responsible for the additional, the room, the housing, the transportation to the island itself, your food, your meals. We also require health insurance while you're there. And we're estimating about 11,950 US. That's an estimate. But again, tuition is $1,000. And once more, as I mentioned earlier, upon the completion of the prep program, you will be awarded a $15,000 scholarship to be used for the first semester of the MD program. So if you have any additional questions about tuition and fees, please drop them in the chat and we'll go over that. Or if you want to take a photo of this, please go ahead and do so. Again, tuition is only $1,000, but you have to keep in mind that you have all the other fees about, just living on the island, basically. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about exactly, we've mentioned so many amazing reasons why to choose ACSOM, American Canadian School of Medicine. We're going to talk a little bit more about whether this is the right choice specifically for you. And as I have said, if you have made the determination that it is, please get your phone, take down the QR code, and it'll take you to the application. Go ahead and set that aside so we can complete the webinar and then submit your application. If you're ready to start in August, we can make that happen. If January seems better for you, then let's go ahead and apply today as well. You do not want to delay in applying, even if it's for January. You want to go ahead and apply as soon as possible so that we can start the process as soon as we get your application. All right, so at this point, let's go ahead and answer some additional questions, specifically to ensure that we are the right match for you. If you have any, individual questions about your particular situation, about the MCAT, about your transcripts, anything at all, tuition, scholarships, please drop them in there and we'll go ahead and address those at this point. Let's see some of the ones that came in already. Towards your medical school, if you successfully, okay, somebody had asked at what point you do the prep program in comparison to the MD. And as we mentioned, it is the foundation for the MD program. So it is something that you do first, and then you transition immediately into our MD program. All right, and then somebody, Jolie, I'm sorry, I may have missed it, but what is the tuition for this program? That's $1,000 for the prep program. And the second half of your question, does the $15,000 scholarship go towards this program, or it goes towards the medical program, towards the tuition of the MD program itself, $15,000. Again, this prep program is only $1,000. That is the tuition that you would be responsible for. Okay. And do we have any other questions? I know we've been answering them as we've gone along. Dr. Stanley White has been gracious enough to answer a lot of these questions. Let's see. If I participate in this program, must I commit to the MD program? Technically, no, but that is the goal of the prep program. It is to give you the necessary foundation to make sure that you are successful in our MD program. So, we would think that if you're going to take the prep program and complete it successfully, that the next logical step would be to start the MD program and be on your way to becoming a physician. That's ultimately the goal. All right, how do we know if we need prep program or just apply for the MD program? That's a great question. So you may not know, and we will actually be here to assist you specifically to answer questions regarding your particulars. So you are able to apply for the prep program directly. There are actually two pathways to the prep program. The first is, if you believe that first, you don't have your MCAT, you do not want to, or you do not plan to take your MCAT, then you need to do the prep program. So that's crucial. However, if you have taken the MCAT and maybe your score wasn't as high as you wanted it to be for whatever reason, or perhaps your MCAT is fine, but your GPA isn't as high as you would like for it to be, then we may suggest that you sign up for the prep program instead of the MD, because you might need that foundational background in order to be successful in the MD program. So if you're not quite ready to start the MD, you can either make that determination. However, I do recommend that you either email or contact me or submit your application with your transcript so we can make that determination. If you apply for the prep program, but we believe that you're strong enough to be successful in the MD program, then we will let you know. So go ahead and either way, apply for the prep program or the MD, and we'll be sure to guide you towards the correct path for you. So I mentioned two paths towards applying for the prep program. One is going on our website or using the QR code that we've showed you a couple times. There is an application. It is our application. And once you're in it, there will be a drop down where you can select either the MD program or the prep program. So that's one option. The second option is if you apply for the MD program and we determine that you're not quite ready or that you will benefit from the prep program itself. And we just had a question. I just lost it there. If we successfully complete the prep program and get into the MD program, then we don't need the MCAT at all. To be correct. That is correct. The prep program would be in lieu of the MCAT. How many semesters is the MD program? So the MD program is 2 years in Dominica. Each of those 2 years is 2 semesters. So we have a start date in January and August. After the 2 years in Dominica, you come back to the United States, you do your clinical rotations, followed by your residency. How many semesters? Okay. And tuition was $25,000. So it's $50,000 for year 1, $50,000 for year 2, $57,000 year 3, and $57,000 year 4. And that's on par with Canadian as well. So it's the same amount. What is the MCAT requirement for the MD program? So we do have a holistic approach towards admissions, which means that we don't have a hard cutoff. We look at everything you've done. You're not just a number to us. So for example, if you have an excellent GPA, but your MCAT wasn't stellar, that might balance out. Or vice versa. Maybe you had a difficult freshman year and that affected your overall GPA, but you have an excellent MCAT. That'll balance out. So, again, it's a very individualized situation. It's a very individualized experience. We want to talk to you. We can also do virtual meetings as well over the phone, text, or email. But it's important that you connect with us so that we can guide you and be of assistance to you. Are we allowed to work while schooling? You are not going to have time to work. Your job is to be a full-time student. And that's pretty much any MD program that you attend. Same with the prep program. you're not going to have time. As Dr. White said, you may not have time to enjoy the island as much as you would like. You're just going to be focused on your studies, on your classes, and that's going to be your full-time job. Okay, I'm sorry, I may have missed it. Yes, so we already answered this one. The $15,000 scholarship goes towards the MD program. Thank you. Okay, any other questions? Do you take the MCAS common application? Thank you. We do take the MCAS and ACOMAS. Texas also has a common application, and if you're in Canada, Canada also has one, Ontario does. So yes, we do take all of them. However, we also have our own application as well. And as I mentioned, there is no fee. And as far as the transcripts, you can go ahead and submit your unofficial transcripts until you're either accepted or we proceed with your application, and then we will require you to provide us with the official transcripts. Okay, how many letters of recommendation are required? You need at least 2 letters of recommendation. If you're able to get 2 academic letters of recommendation from a professor, for example, then obviously those would be preferable. However, if one of them is, maybe you were shadowing, maybe you worked as a transcriber, so there's different situations where we will take a professional letter of recommendation. So you do need a minimum of 2 of them, as well as your CV or your resume. And we also need a personal statement. I don't think I had mentioned that, but we need a personal statement. It doesn't have to be very long at all, but it's important for you to communicate with us your passion, your motivation. Tell us anything you think we need to know to make an informed decision, about your application, whether it's prep program or MD. The personal statement is very important. Do you require the preview exam or the CASPER? We do not require that ourselves, no. So we don't, neither for the MD program either. Let's see, does financial aid help with room and board for prep program? No, actually that is something that you will need to pay out of pocket, or you can, some of our students receive private loans as well, but we do not have loans for the housing aspect of it. We, do have some assistance. We have scholarships. We have lots of financial aid that we're able to contribute towards, depending on your personal situation. Again, we're nonprofits, so it is very important for us to be able to facilitate you completing and having access to our, to the education. And we don't want finances to keep you from achieving your dream of becoming a physician. So do talk to us. We have an excellent financial aid officer, Jane, and she will be able to offer you guidance, assistance, on how to procure funds. So do not let that stop you. I know, obviously it's a substantial amount of money, but please reach out to us and let us help you with that. But as of now, 100% of our students have received some amount of scholarship. So that lets you know, again, that's very important for us to make it accessible. Great questions. Any other? Let's see. Okay, Dr. White, did you want to say a couple words?
Sure, thank you, Maria. There's a question about our match rate. Well, of course, we're a brand new school and we don't have any graduates yet. So we can't really say anything about a match rate because none of our students have progressed that far. One of the important features about our school is that we do make a very serious and detailed judgment about whether someone who is accepted is likely to be able to succeed. And we offer the extra chance of this prep program if we think that someone entering directly may struggle. So the whole ethos of the school is to accept about 15% of our applicants and support them very strongly throughout their studies. So our goal will be to have very high USMLE first-time pass rate, and it's the USMLE first-time pass rate which will be an important determinant of residency match. And if you look at most schools who advertise these statistics in whatever format they have, they don't tell you much about about attrition rates and things like that, but figures of 90% plus are common. And I think at this stage for our school, all we can say is that we aim to have similar match rates and similar step one pass rates, but we don't have anybody yet, so we can't say anything really quantitative.
Thank you. And are there any other questions for Dr. White or Dr. Sanchez de Leon? What is the average attrition rate for the MD program, Dr. White?
Yeah, well, again, we've only been running the program now for 2 semesters. We're just coming into the 3rd semester. Our attrition rate is very low. It would not be accurate to say that students have not left the program. They have, but you're really looking at literally 1 or 2 students in the program at each stage. So again, as the program develops and gets more students, then we'll put into place all the protective mechanisms we can muster to prevent attrition. And attrition can be caused by a number of factors, not just academic ones. And the other side of the school is our student services department that have a very strong wellness program to maintain non-academic success factors for our students. So we work very, very hard to maintain a very, very low attrition rate. Again, because we haven't really been going very long, it's not meaningful to give a percentage as such. I see there's another question on students residing on a school campus. No, students don't reside on campus, but our student services and housing department will help you find an apartment that you want to live in. And all of the apartments that we provide for students are within 5 or 6 minute walk of the campus. Our security department protects the campus 24/7. It patrols all of the areas of the student residences, and we provide transport for students back to their accommodation in bad weather or if they don't feel safe at night or anything, but that doesn't happen much. So it's a very self-contained community within PCARD. And as David is asking, is it safe to walk around? Yes, Dominica is a very low crime rate island, but like every place in the world, there are parts of it that you need to be careful about walking around late at night. And we give you a lot of guidance on that in terms of the PCARD area in which the campus resides. But PCARD is one of the safest parts of Dominica in my experience. So you don't need to worry at all about your security while on campus.
Great. And there's another question. Jasmine graduates in May 2025. Will there be options for the prep program in 2025 near the fall time? So there are 2 start dates for the prep program and the MD program, and it's always August and January.
I see Morgan is asking a question about schools for elementary age children. Yes, there are. Currently, we don't have any students with children in local schools, but some of our faculty do have children in local schools, and they're all doing extremely well. One of our faculty's children has just won all sorts of scholarships and awards. So yes, there are a variety of schools around the Portsmouth PCARD area for children of all age groups, actually.
All right. I noticed the school application only mentions institution and transcripts from where a bachelor's degree was received. What if you obtain degrees higher than a bachelor? Is the medical school only No, that's a great question. No, absolutely. If you have a master's, a PhD, please apply. The bachelor's is, again, the minimum. So you absolutely need a minimum of a bachelor's or something equivalent, depending on what country you're from. Okay, any other questions? And again, Dr. Sanchez de Leon is also available to answer specific questions about the Prep for Success program. If you have questions about that as well, we can have her come back on. Okay, I don't see any others. This is your opportunity. Don't be shy. We're all available here. However, I have added my email and my telephone number. I'm going to be adding that again for you, so you can always access me. I'm an admissions advisor. We do have a team of dedicated admissions advisors in different regions of the country, as well as Puerto Rico. And we're always available to answer any questions, to guide you. We just want to make sure that you do not delay. This is, something that if you're wanting to become a physician, you're clearly passionate about medicine and deeply passionate about helping people. So we want to make sure that we can help you achieve that dream, and make that come true. So don't delay. You have the QR code, or you can just go directly to our website and apply for the prep program itself, or the MD program directly. I do suggest you do that tonight so we can go ahead and get you started. And as I mentioned, we do have an MD class and a prep program starting in August. And we can expedite your application, especially you're here tonight. I know you're motivated, and we can assist you with that. So go ahead and fill that application out tonight. Even if you don't have your transcripts, we can go ahead and move forward with unofficial transcripts. But let's start the process. And again, if at any point you have any questions whatsoever, please contact me. Let me see if I can go ahead and bring that slide back. I don't think I can. I'm going to drop my email again in the chat. Oh, here we go. Okay, thank you. Let's move forward here. Okay, so these are the names of the guests today. So, if you have questions for any of them, please don't hesitate to reach them. Even Dr. Bagapur gave you his direct cell phone number. So he's very committed. He's very passionate about, your dream to become a physician. He has gone through the process as well. So he's walked down the path, and he can be a great guide as well. And Dr. Stanley just added his email address on the chat, so reach out to him. All great resources, so don't hesitate. That's what we're here for. Again, here is the QR code. Take it down, take a photo of it, and start the application process tonight, okay? You can even call me tonight if you have questions, or if you need suggestions or advice on any part of it. I'm actually going to put my telephone number as we speak here. All right, so apply tonight. Call me or text me. Let me know that you submitted your application, whether to the prep program or the MD program. Drop me a line so I can congratulate you. Or if you have questions, drop me a line and I will call you directly, or we can text or email, and I'll be more than happy to assist. But thank you, everybody. All of you have been amazing, fabulous questions. Thank you so much for dropping those in there. And anywhere you are in the world, thank you for joining us. And I hope to see you at the next webinar, which is tomorrow. Please take down this QR code. It is tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to talk about community outreach in Dominica, and the practical experience that you will receive as a student on campus, and particularly in the Caribbean. What does that entail? What are the benefits? You're going to have access to a lot more that students in, a lot of schools in the United States simply don't, because of the location, because of the population that lives there, their specific needs. So come and join us tomorrow at the webinar as well, and learn about that. So thank you so much, everybody. I hope you have a lovely evening. Submit your applications. Have a great night, guys.